Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Magnus Capital. Now, excuse me, I have to carry on printing money on the charts.
Today we're just going to be doing a very quick recap of the two trades we ended up taking. If we just get into it, we did call both these in the Telegram. So if you do want to join the free Telegram, be sure to comment the word join, and we'll send you the link. Because YouTube doesn't let us put links in the description of our videos. So essentially the whole preface behind this was that all week we've been respecting this bearish PD array on the hourly. As you can see, Thursday was where we created it. Friday ended up respecting it, displacing lower, and more or less all week we've been failing to displace above it. As you can see then, during last night's Asian session, price just ended up ramping extremely strong to the in terms of buy side momentum and back into the hourly gap. And then also, if we go on the 15-minute, you can see that we also had a bearish 15-minute order block inside the hourly gap, which has been respected and more or less caused the displacement down into the earlier days of this week. So again, for us, when we opened the charts here, which was obviously London session, what was clear to us was that we were seeing quarterly theory, which was essentially XAMD. So it's accumulation, manipulation, distribution, but quarterly theory assumes that one of these take place before or after that. So what were we seeing? So Asian session saw extreme manipulation to the upside, which was distribution to the upside here. So we had XAMD, so distribution, and then obviously London session stalled in the 15-minute bearish order block, which was inside the hourly PD array. And then also another big thing was that we ended up taking out the weekly high inside the 15-minute bearish order block inside the hourly gap. When we ended up taking out the high then, we had X, which was distribution. London accumulated at the high with a failure to displace above two bearish gaps, one being the 15-minute bearish order block, one being the hourly PD array. And then we ended up getting the 5-minute bearish SMT. We're already on the 5-minute. So we accumulated here during London, manipulated with a failure to displace and a failure to invert both gaps, turning the 15-minute order block into a breaker, and failure to turn the hourly into an IFVG. Then we got the bearish SMT there as ES failed to do the same, and we also took the weekly high. So for us, we're thinking, well, you know what? Asia and London have generated a ton of engineered sell side below, which was this LRO here, a bunch of unmitigated stops. Price needs to rebalance, right? As we were kind of getting that signal for buy side absorption with failure to invert the gaps. And then also you can see here, as we mentioned in loads of our videos, price does one of four things: aims to rebalance equilibrium and inefficiencies and generate and hunt liquidity. So as you can see here, equilibrium of the daily leg was this 5-minute gap here, which also had London's low in it, which was current session's low, which obviously then became our target for that trade, as it would have been a balance to EQ of the daily range. So if we go here and we just go on the 3-minute, right? So as you can see then again, so we had X, so we had extremely strong distribution into an hourly bearish fair value gap and 15-minute bearish order block. Then the AMD played out, accumulation, manipulation, failure to displace above both these gaps, 5-minute bearish SMT with ES, a bunch of generated engineered sell side blow as LRL, and two external draws, which was Asia's low and London's low. Then we had the IFVG off the high, which was the 1-minute, and then we also had I believe it was what was it? Was it a 2-minute CISD? Right, anyway, so we had the 1-minute IFVG straight off the high, which was extremely strong displacement to the downside, complete disrespect of the 1-minute inverse fair value gap. I believe this was just from the second trade. And so then added confluence was that we had the 5-minute CISD again. So we also had a 5-minute IFVG on this candle and the 5-minute CISD, which again was mega confluence. Then here we go. So we also had the 3-minute CISD. Sorry, that's what we're looking for again. So then we traded into the unfilled PD array, which was the 5-minute that also had the external draw, which was London's low. But due to the reaction we were getting in the gap, more or less we thought it's better just to secure the trade than to end up risking obviously not getting the win. So we ended up just closing a couple pips away from 40p, and ended up getting a beautiful trade, calling it perfectly. Beautiful rebalance short there. Thesis played out absolutely textbook. So then more or less what we ended up seeing with the second trade was literally playing off of this, right? So price distributed, we came up, then accumulated again. So perfect example of AMD. Obviously now after getting the 5-minute CISD, the 5-minute IFVG, and obviously then strong distribution out of these PD arrays, it was clear that the algo did want to see a continuation of the rebalance here. Complete shift in low time frame order flow. And so, but obviously, as we know, price isn't just going to go straight in one direction. Price is always going to manipulate first, because obviously we know that price goes to hunt and generate liquidity. So then obviously there was a bunch of resting stops here from these inefficiencies. Price moves to rebalance inefficiencies. So we ended up accumulating, manipulating, rebalancing this 5-minute inefficiency. Failure to even close in the gap on the 5-minute, and then obviously hunted all of these short stops here. Again, then gave the algo the fuel to then obviously see the distribution it wanted to get. Complete disrespect to the 5-minute. On the 3-minute, we ended up souping the accumulation high and ended up failing to even close in this 3-minute here. So again, the short for us was absolutely clear. We ended up taking this on eval though, as it was more or less higher risk, because we were trading into session open. 1-minute IFVG off the high, completely strong. Soup again, AMD. Price rebalance the 5-minute, failure to even close in it on the 5-minute. Respected the 3-minute gap. Soup of the accumulation high after getting the 5-minute CISD and the 5-minute IFVG. So this was the rebalance after the inversion. Great. So we knew we wanted to see continuation towards the external draw hit. Sorry, this was the internal draw, as this was relative equal lows. We didn't want to go too crazy, just in case obviously we were trading just into New York Open. So these 1-minute relative equal lows, I believe, were the perfect draw. Again, 3-minute CISD here, which was added confluence. And yeah, so we traded into the 5-minute gap, ended up inverting that, completely respecting, I believe it was a 1-minute bearish order block. Yep, there we go. And then obviously time and price aligned, session opened, and ended up tagging the internal draw absolutely perfectly. So this was a 1 to 2.9 risk reward at 90 pips was 40p, but we ended up closing a little bit early. I believe it was 80 something pips. And this one we ended up getting 40p, about 87 or 86 pips, 1 to 2.8 risk reward. Two absolutely killer trades. Obviously now we're in one of those trending sessions where you get absolutely no entry and a bunch of unbalanced price action. So we will see what happens later. But again, two absolutely killer trades there. Absolutely textbook if you know how we trade. And yeah, can't complain.
Whoa, did you really think we weren't going to show you proof of the trades? Check out these screenshots from the Telegram. We hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one, future millionaires.